just what are the biggest things you've been working on personally this off season to try to continue to master your craft?
I think being as consistent as possible. I'm a really big believer in you're only as good as your routine, right? So feels like I had a really good routine going last year. I'm going to continue that and, stay up, whatever that might be during the week, whether it's focusing on stretching or, maybe I'm really focusing on, one thing and a kick. But really being as consistent as possible and sticking to my routine, whatever that day looks like for me.
How did you have to adapt that routine when you guys weren't at the Woody because of COVID?
Oh, it was definitely challenging. It's, like anybody, it's a off season that nobody's experienced before, but constant contact with the strength and conditioning coach staff here that really helped me out, and I know helped everybody else out over that time during, I don't know when exactly it was, but April to June, I think was the major time where everybody was at home. We were doing at home workouts, so constant communication with them. Making sure I'm listening to my body, doing some extra stuff, whether it be with mobility or maybe some cardio, because, when you're trapped in Buffalo over a quarantine, it's easy to eat about 50 wings a day, which I definitely like doing. So maybe I was adding a little bit more cardio, but the strength and conditioning staff, I can't give them enough compliments. They helped everybody so much over that break. So they were big in my success of maintaining what we built up over the winter.
Thanks, Blake.
All right, next up is Austin Ward from Letterman Row with Brendan Gulick on deck. Austin.
Blake, how much are you guys going to miss Liam?
Oh, we're going to miss Liam a lot. He adds a lot to the group, a lot of personality. We talk every practice for what seems like hours. So we're going to miss him a lot, but we got two great snappers. Brad, my roommate, can't say enough about his craft and his dedication towards being a long snapper, constantly looking at film, constantly striving to get better. So we got a lot of good guys in the group. How does
Brad's personality compare to what you guys got used to with Liam over the last few years?
Well, everybody's unique, right? Everybody's got their own personality that makes them what they are. But I mean, Brad, like I said, Brad and Liam, both two hardworking, dedicated guys, and consistent long snappers. So can't say enough about what he's done this offseason, constantly looking at film, constantly keeping in touch, making sure we're being as consistent as possible as a group. So he's done an excellent job, and I expect him to do a great job moving forward.
Thanks, Blake.
Next up, Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated with Joey Kaufman on deck. Brendan.
Hey, Blake. Thanks for spending some time with us, man. I want to ask you about your relationship with Coach Barnes. He was telling us earlier how one of the challenges that he's faced in his career as he's gone between different schools and he's kind of built himself up is learning how to develop that relationship with new players where there isn't something pre-existing, and then learning how to coach them. Was hoping you might be able to share a story with us or something, take us behind the scenes of how you went about building that relationship with Coach Barnes, maybe something funny at practice or something that happened unique to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Barnes is an excellent coach, so much knowledge that he brings to the special teams of this team. As far as creating a relationship with him, I think it's just constant communication. He's very, when he got here, he was, really was striving to create a relationship with every specialist, whether it be just saying, give me a call if you need anything, or my office is always open. But I think it's the constant communication, coming to him about anything, whether it be football or real life, or I got this going on with my family, or hey, I really want to work on this in practice. Can you help me out? But the constant communication has really helped me create a really strong relationship with him. And I feel like I can go to him about anything.
Awesome. And then one more question that's maybe more of a 10,000-foot view question. When did you first realize that you fell in love with kicking and wanted to do this and pursue this?
That's an awesome question. And it's a question that, I've asked myself before, and, people have asked me before, and, I've pondered, when did it happen? And to answer your question, I think I was about 11 years old, and I went up to a field with my dad, and, I saw him kick before, and I was just like, man, that looks kind of cool. So he went out, he got me, I think you're allowed to use in high school, like a 2-inch block. Now I was 11, 12 years old, and I was just lining it up on there. And I'm like, man, this is going pretty well. I can actually kick it far. And I remember, like, he hit one from, like, I don't know, 50 yards or something like that. I'm like, I think I can beat him here. So that first day, I ended up getting back to like 47 yards. I'm like, man, this is something I really like doing. I think I can pursue it. And I started playing football in fifth grade, going into sixth grade, and kicking extra points wasn't really common. And I did that, and all my teammates loved it. So I sort of loved it. I embraced it, and I focus on it so much. And I can't say enough how much I love looking at film and just being a kicker for this team and Buckeye Nation.
And if I can, one more here. I think a lot of people like watching film, and maybe we feel like we're good at dissecting when a receiver runs a good route or when a safety makes a good jump on the ball. How do you evaluate what you do well and what you do poorly? And who do you look at to say, boy, that's a guy that I really want to model my game after?
Yeah, and there are a lot of really good examples out there of kickers and punters and long snappers for specialists to look at. I'd like to say I look at a few things on everybody. Specifically, I look at professionals, really all over the place. But at the end of the day, I like looking at myself because, you got guys in the NFL who are 5'8", you got guys in the NFL who are 6'5" at the kicking position, right? So it's one of those things like, I don't know, everybody I think saw what Harrison Butker did, making some big kicks to win Kansas City a game against the Chargers. And, he's a really tall guy. So I'm going to look at stuff from him. Whereas, a guy who has a really good tempo on kickoffs who might be a little shorter, I might look at that. There's multiple things you look at, but at the end of the day, whenever you hit a good ball, you want to look at where your body position is, plant foot, where your arm is, chin to chest, what's your follow through looking like. So there's all sorts of stuff to look at, but I think at the end of the day, it is just dissecting you as an individual, understanding what works for you, and enhancing those traits.
Great. Thanks, Blake.
All righty, next up is Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch with Colin Hass-Hill on deck. Joey.
Blake, have you given much thought on what it'll be like to kick in front of an empty stadium?
You know what? It was very interesting going over there in the shoe without fans a few times already this year. And, it doesn't change too much about me as far as what I'm doing. I'm still picking a target and aiming towards it like I would if there were 100,000 fans in there. But I will say I'm going to miss not having fans in there. The love and passion of football in Ohio is so awesome, and I can't say enough about their support. And, I want them to know we're going to be playing for them this year, and we know they're cheering us on.
Conversely, what do you think it'll be like, I guess, on the road? Normally, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you might be playing Penn State, and there'll be a whiteout game, and you have all these people yelling at you, and
Right.
this will be quiet.
Yeah, a lot different. But, I'm going to still do what I do on, field goal and kickoffs and working my consistent technique. And, I will say it's definitely going to be a lot different there against Penn State. I remember, as a sophomore going there, that was quite the whiteout environment. But, my goal is to make every kick. Our goal is to win every game. And, I'm just going to be focusing on that.
All right, got time for a couple more questioners. We'll go with Colin Hass-Hill from 11 Warriors with Tim May on deck. Colin.
Blake, have you given any thought or had any conversations about whether there's any chance at all that you'd be back next season, or is this your last year?
I think what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at the season game by game, right? And I'm going to just focus on making every kick for this team. And then those long-term things we'll look at after the year. But right now I'm looking at Nebraska, however many days it is, 10, 11 days. And I'm focusing on making every kick in that game right now.
And what are your first impressions on Jake as a freshman kicker?
My first impressions on Jake are great guy, really athletic kicker. He gets great lift on his kicks, and just a guy that, is somebody who's going to constantly want to get better, right? He's constantly looking at film and, striving to get better in that department, and really he focuses on his craft very well. So I think Jake's going to be a great kicker here, and, if there's something I can do to help him, I think he already knows I'm more than happy to do that. And, constant work with him has shown me that, the future here for kickers is bright.
For sure.
All right, and our last questioner for today will be Tim May from the Tim May Podcast and Letterman Row. Tim.
Thank you very much, Mike. I was just wondering, going back to something you said earlier, Blake, Trapped in Buffalo. That sounds like the name of a possible movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love stuff about Buffalo that, most people might not understand. I love when it snows there. I play hockey in my driveway constantly when, it's 20 degrees out, my driveway's icy. I love shooting hockey pucks and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's quite the scene up there in the winter, like I said, with all the snowfall and stuff like that, windy, and most people don't like doing that, but I embrace it and love it. So quarantine, when I think it was still snowing in May up there when everything was going on. So I remember there was one day where I kicked with my brother and father up in my local high school field. It was snowing, and you sort of just got to embrace it. We're going to be playing games in December, right? So I think Buffalo's made me a great kicker and taught me a lot about being able to kick in certain conditions.
Yeah, the old saying goes, you're prepared. Hey, one other question. I was talking with Coach Barnes about this. when during this lull time, you've seen a lot of different things going on in special teams, especially new ways of kicking onside kicks, et cetera, because there have been some great games. How much do you practice different techniques on onside kicks? We all remember that perfect flip to Chris Olave last year. I'd never seen that ever before. But how often do you actually get to practice that stuff?
It's one of those things. I know I touched on a routine earlier. I sort of incorporated my routine. Onside kicks aren't very laborious on the body, so I might be able to do 15 or 20 of those on a day and just really focusing on something where, let's say I started 6 weeks ago, right? I do 15 to 20 of those a week. Those add up to, 120 kicks. So, I just focus on probably 1 or 2 days a week doing those different onside kicks and, whatever's in the game plan for that week. So I do make sure I'm working on that stuff. But at the end of the day, again, like anything, I'll be looking at film on how my body's positioned when I'm kicking the ball. And, I'll also look at, stuff with Coach Barnes on maybe where it needs to be or, who we're targeting and stuff like that. So like anything, little work, create a routine for it. And, I really feel as though that's what drives the success.
Do you try to invent one though? Do you try to invent a new way of doing it? You know what I mean? How much time do you spend on the creativity aspect of it?
It's one of those things where you really got to see what your opponent is doing and stuff like that, because that's ultimately what's going to drive what decision you do for the onside kick. But I got a lot of kicks I can do. I got about 7 or 8. So whatever Coach Barnes wants me to do, I'll be doing for us. I'll be ready to do it.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
Oh, all right, Blake. Thank you